This is Love Notes, daily devotions from Holy Trinity Lutheran Church. Grace and peace to you. We continue today with Job's response to his friends and the questions he has for God, his prayers to God, if you will. He says to his friends, "Let me have silence and I will speak." In other words, you've had enough time talking, and let come on me what may. In other words, and here's where there's this huge courageous faith in Job. He would rather risk angering God with his questions than keeping silent, than going the party line, than using the stock answer. The stock answers for a blameless man are not forthcoming. And so he keeps pushing, and he would rather risk his relationship with God than to dismiss it, to cow to it. Job seeks a deep relationship, or believes that he already has that, and so he is empowered to speak to God in these courageous, angry, and very testing kinds of ways. I will take my flesh in my teeth and put my life in my hand. See, he will kill me. I have no hope, but I will defend my ways to his face. In other words, I know that God doesn't have to answer me. I know that God is more powerful than I. I know that God may destroy me because of this, but I will defend my ways to his face. I will stay engaged with God. I won't be dismissed. This will be my salvation, that the godless shall not come before him. Chew on that a little bit. This will be my salvation, that the godless shall not come before him. Those who don't know God, those who have no place with God, those who wouldn't think to ask God a question will not come before God. But Job is not godless. As a matter of fact, he is full of faith and he is blameless before the Lord. So that gives him the courage to speak to God and to speak of God. Do you feel like you have that courage? It can take a lifetime to articulate what it is that we feel and we experience and we understand or don't understand about God. Job gives us permission to find the path of wisdom in that hard way, not in the easy platitudes of the culture around us. He says, "Listen carefully to my words and let my declaration be in your ears. I have indeed prepared my case. I know that I shall be vindicated. I know that I shall be vindicated." And that gives him courage to go on. Who is there who will contend with me? For then I would be silent and die. In other words, these friends, they're not contending with him. They aren't taking seriously the experience of Job, the suffering of Job. They're not looking and they don't have any compassion or pity upon him. They don't seek to enter into his pain and ask for a moment whether it is possible they will suffer in this way too. And so, where is he supposed to get any consolation? But he's prepared his case and he will continue to press it. He then says in verse 20, "Only grant two things to me, two things, and I will not hide myself from your face. I will continue to stand before you, God, right, wrong, or indifferent, if I get two things. One, withdraw your hand from me. Do not let dread of you terrify me." In other words, enough of the suffering. Let's just leave it where it's at. He wants to be released from the pain and the suffering. Is that a cry you've made to God? I have. But I also know there have been times where I've been too afraid. "Then call and I will answer, or let me speak and you reply to me." So his second thing that he wants is to receive an answer. I want to be released from my suffering, and I want an answer for why this happened. It could be really the summary of the whole book of Job, that this is about calling to God to be released from the suffering of our lives and asking for answers. Not quick answers, not foolish answers, not the tried and true platitudes and bumper stickers of the age, not the latest self-help book, not what everybody else sees, but out of the compassion and faith of our hearts that God will give us some answer, some contentment, some measure of peace. Job continues his questions, and he does so in faith. And we should learn from him that wrestling with God, as Israel, Jacob did, is part of what this faith journey is all about. When things get tough, often people just abandon any idea of God. That's the opposite of what we see here in Job. Job digs in for an argument, for a court date, for a pleading, and he places his prayers completely before God. That's the honesty of his faith, and perhaps we can learn from it. Amen.